The silver ships came from the void between stars like silent hunters stalking prey. 3 massive vessels materialized at the edge of Earth's solar system, their hulls gleaming with unknown metals that bent light in strange ways. Inside the lead ship, Zinthos adjusted his observation equipment and watched the small blue planet spinning lazily around its yellow star. Zinthos was a Vorthak, a species that had conquered 17 worlds for the Galactic Council. His 4 arms moved with practiced efficiency as he calibrated the deep space scanners. His large black eyes, evolved for seeing in the darkness of space, studied the readouts with growing amusement. The creatures on this world called themselves humans, and they appeared to be nothing more than another primitive species ripe for harvesting. Kim Daeho pulled his mining suit tighter against the cold vacuum of space as he worked on Asteroid, Station 7. The former South Korean Special Forces soldier had traded his military uniform for mining equipment 3 years ago, but his instincts remained sharp. Something felt wrong today. The deep space sensors had picked up strange readings at the system's edge, but the company bosses said it was just solar interference. Daeho secured his plasma cutter and activated his suit's communication system. Control, this is Mining Unit 12. I'm picking up some weird energy signatures out here. You sure those readings are just solar flares? The voice that crackled back through his helmet speakers sounded tired. Daeho, you're seeing ghosts again. Finish your shift and come back to base. We've got quotas to meet. But Daeho wasn't convinced. His military training had taught him to trust his gut, and right now his gut was telling him that something was watching them. He adjusted his suit's long-range sensors and swept the area beyond Pluto's orbit. For a moment, just a moment, he thought he saw something that shouldn't be there. On Earth, Park So-min sat in her laboratory at the Korean Institute of Technology, surrounded by equations that most people couldn't even pronounce. The brilliant physicist had been working on experimental propulsion systems for the past 5 years, trying to find a way to make interstellar travel possible for humans. Her latest prototype used quantum field manipulation to create tiny tears in space-time, allowing for faster-than-light communication across short distances. So Min rubbed her tired eyes and looked at the clock. It was past midnight again, but she couldn't sleep. The mathematics were so close to working, but something was missing. She needed a breakthrough, something that would change everything about how humans understood physics. What she didn't know was that her research was being watched very carefully by beings who already understood these principles perfectly. Zinthos compiled his preliminary report with satisfaction. The humans were exactly what the Council had hoped to find: a young species with basic technology and no real military power. They had managed to reach their own moon and build some simple space stations, but they were still trapped in their own solar system like insects in a jar. Their bodies were weak and fragile, requiring artificial environments to survive in space. They had no natural weapons, no armor, and their lifespans were laughably short by galactic standards. The Vorthak scientists' report would classify humans as Category 7, primitive, warlike species. They showed signs of aggression and tribal behavior, but their technology was thousands of years behind even the most basic Council member species. They would make excellent workers for the mining operations on the Rim worlds, assuming they could be properly controlled. Analysis complete, Zinthos transmitted to the Council fleet. Species designation, human. Classification, Category 7. Recommended action, standard pacification and recruitment protocols. Estimated resistance capability, negligible. Lee Jin-woo straightened his diplomatic uniform as he prepared for what might be the most important meeting in human history. The Korean attaché had been chosen to lead Earth's response team because of his language skills and experience in international negotiations. What nobody had told him was that he would be negotiating with beings from another world. The first contact had come 3 days ago through radio transmissions that appeared in every major language simultaneously. The message was simple. Representatives of the Galactic Council wished to meet with Earth's leaders to discuss humanity's place in the wider universe. The world's governments had spent 72 hours in frantic meetings trying to decide how to respond. Jin-woo looked out the window of the orbital station where the meeting would take place. In the distance, he could see the alien ships hovering just beyond Earth's gravitational influence. They were beautiful in a terrifying way, like nothing human engineers had ever conceived. The technology required to build such vessels was beyond anything in human science fiction. The first shuttle arrived exactly on time. Jinwoo watched through the docking bay windows as the alien craft approached. It moved without any visible propulsion system, gliding through space as if the laws of physics didn't apply to it. The airlock cycled, and humanity got its first look at beings from another world. Zinthos entered the station wearing what appeared to be an environmental suit, though it was unlike anything humans had ever seen. The Vorthak was tall and thin, with 4 arms that moved independently of each other. His large black eyes studied the humans with what might have been curiosity or amusement. "Greetings," Zinthos said through a translation device that rendered his words in perfect Korean. "I am Research Director Zinthos of the Galactic Council Exploration Fleet. We come in peace to welcome humanity into the greater galactic community." Jinwoo bowed politely, as was proper in Korean custom. "Welcome to our system, Director Zinthos. I am Lee Jinwoo, representing the unified governments of Earth. We are honored by your visit and eager to learn about the galaxy beyond our world." What Jinwoo didn't know was that Zinthos was studying every aspect of human behavior, cataloging their social patterns and looking for weaknesses that could be exploited later. The Vorthak had done this 17 times before with 17 different species. He knew exactly how this conversation would end. Daeho finished his shift and returned to the mining station, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The other miners were talking about the alien contact, and most of them were excited about the possibilities. New technology, new worlds to explore, new opportunities for humanity. But Daeho had seen enough combat to recognize the signs of a predator studying its prey. He made his way to the station's communication center and sent a coded message to his old military contacts on Earth. "Something doesn't feel right about our new friends. Keep your eyes open and your weapons ready. Trust your instincts." So Min received the news about first contact while she was running calculations on her latest experiment. The physicist felt a surge of excitement at the thought of learning about alien technology, but also a nagging worry. If these beings were so advanced, why had they come to Earth? What did they want from humanity? She saved her research files to multiple encrypted storage devices and hid them in various locations around her laboratory. If these aliens were as friendly as they claimed, she would share her work freely. But if they weren't, she wanted to make sure that human innovation wouldn't be lost. The first week of contact proceeded exactly as Zinthos had planned. The humans were cautious but eager, asking thousands of questions about galactic civilization and offering to share their own knowledge and culture. They spoke of peace and cooperation, of joining the galactic community as equals. It was almost touching how naive they were. Zinthos submitted his final assessment to the Council with complete confidence. The humans posed no threat whatsoever. They could be easily controlled through a combination of superior technology and careful manipulation. Within a year, they would be working in the Council's mines and factories, grateful for the opportunity to serve a higher purpose. What Zinthos failed to understand was that he was looking at humanity during peacetime. He saw their curiosity, their eagerness to learn, their desire for peaceful cooperation. He cataloged their physical weaknesses and technological limitations, but he never considered what these strange bipedal creatures might become when their survival was threatened. The Galactic Council's greatest mistake was about to begin, and it would reshape the galaxy forever. 6 months had passed since first contact, and the honeymoon period was over. The massive Council harvester ships emerged from hyperspace like dark clouds blotting out the stars. Each vessel was the size of a small moon, bristling with weapons that could crack planets in half. The alien fleet took position around Earth with mechanical precision, their shadow falling across the blue world like a funeral shroud. Cho Min-jun stood in the emergency command center deep beneath Seoul, watching the tactical displays with growing horror. The former military coordinator had been appointed to lead Earth's defense forces, though nobody had expected to need them so soon. The screens showed dozens of alien vessels surrounding the planet, their energy signatures off every scale. Human science could measure. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission on all frequencies," reported the communications officer. "It's coming from the lead ship." The main screen flickered and Zinthos appeared. But this wasn't the polite diplomat who had visited the orbital station. This was a conqueror revealing his true face. The Vorthak's forearms gestured dismissively as he delivered his ultimatum. Attention, primitive beings of Earth. The Galactic Council has reviewed your species and found you suitable for service. Under the authority of the Galactic Expansion Accords, you are hereby conscripted as a labor class for the greater good of galactic civilization. Resistance is futile and will result in the extinction of your species. You have one standard day to surrender unconditionally. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Around the world, similar scenes played out as governments and military leaders realized the horrifying truth. Humanity had been evaluated like livestock and found useful only as slaves. Han Yu-jin was in his engineering workshop when the announcement came. The former aerospace engineer had been studying the limited alien technology samples provided during the diplomatic phase, trying to understand how their propulsion systems worked. Now he understood why the aliens had been so generous with their gifts. They wanted humans to see the hopeless gap between their technologies, but Yu-jin had noticed something the aliens didn't expect. Their technology was incredibly advanced, but it was also predictable. Every system followed the same basic patterns, the same engineering philosophy. It was like looking at machines built by a species that had forgotten how to innovate, that had been using the same designs for thousands of years. "They're not creative," he muttered to himself as he examined a piece of alien circuitry. "They just built on what came before, but humans don't think like that." Yoon Da-eun was piloting her cargo hauler through the asteroid belt when the ultimatum arrived. The veteran space captain had been running supplies between the mining stations for 8 years, and she knew these space lanes better than anyone. Her ship wasn't much to look at, but it was fast and maneuverable, built for navigating the dangerous rocks and debris of the outer system. "All ships, this is Earth Control," came the emergency broadcast. "Return to base immediately. We are under hostile occupation. Repeat, return to base immediately." But Da-eun didn't turn around. Instead, she changed course toward the hidden supply depot where Daeho's mining crews stored their equipment. If Earth was going to fight, they would need every advantage they could get, and the asteroid belt might be the only place left where humans could move freely. The first demonstration came 12 hours after the ultimatum expired. Beijing had refused to surrender, and the aliens wanted to make an example. The beam that lanced down from orbit was invisible to human eyes, but its effects were devastating. The entire city center simply ceased to exist, replaced by a perfectly circular crater of molten glass. The message was clear: surrender or die. But humanity had never been good at following simple instructions. Min-jun watched the casualty reports flood in and felt something cold settle in his chest. The aliens expected immediate surrender after their demonstration of power. They had probably done this same routine dozens of times before with other species. Show overwhelming force, demand submission, then put the survivors to work. They didn't. "Understand that humans don't break that easily. Get me a secure line to all remaining government leaders," he ordered, "and patch in our military commanders. We're going to fight." The underground networks activated within hours. Daeho's mining crews became the first resistance cells, using their knowledge of the asteroid belt to establish hidden bases beyond the reach of alien sensors. The miners had spent years carving tunnels through solid rock. Now they used those same skills to build bunkers and weapon caches. "The aliens control the high ground," Daeho explained to his team as they worked to camouflage their base inside asteroid XK-739. "But they don't know how to fight in 3 dimensions. They think like conquerors, not like guerrillas." So-min had evacuated her laboratory just hours before the alien bombardment began. Her research files were hidden in a dozen different locations, and she had managed to save her most important equipment. Now she was working in an abandoned subway tunnel, trying to reverse engineer alien technology with equipment meant for basic physics experiments. "Their energy weapons use focused plasma," she explained to Yu-jin over an encrypted communication link. "But the containment fields are incredibly complex. They're using principles of physics that we barely understand." "Then we learn fast," Yu-jin replied, "or we die trying." The aliens had made their first mistake by underestimating human stubbornness. They had made their second mistake by giving humans 6 months to study their technology. But their biggest Mistake was assuming that a species needed to be technologically superior to be dangerous. Humans had been fighting each other for thousands of years. They understood warfare in ways that the peaceful Galactic Council could never imagine. Every human military leader had studied the great battles of history, had learned from Napoleon and Sun Tzu and Patton. They knew how to fight against overwhelming odds because they had been doing it since the dawn of civilization. The resistance grew like a cancer through Earth's cities. For every cell the aliens discovered and destroyed, 3 more appeared. Human fighters used tactics that made no sense to alien military doctrine. They struck from unexpected directions, used weapons that shouldn't work, and disappeared into hiding places that didn't show up on advanced sensors. Da-Un became the backbone of the supply network, using her cargo ship to ferry weapons and equipment between resistance cells. The aliens had orbital superiority, but they couldn't watch every rock in the asteroid belt. Her ship had been modified with stealth technology, reverse-engineered from captured alien scouts, making it nearly invisible to their detection systems. "Package delivered to Mining Station 12, she reported over the encrypted network. "Daho's boys are armed and ready." The alien response was predictably overwhelming. When resistance cells struck at their ground installations, entire city blocks were reduced to rubble. The Council forces had never encountered guerrilla warfare before, and their response was crude and ineffective. They destroyed everything in sight, hoping to discourage further resistance. Instead, they made humans angry. Yu Jin's breakthrough came 3 months into the occupation. Working with salvaged alien components and human innovation, he had created something that shouldn't exist, a human weapon that could actually damage alien shields. It was crude and unreliable, but it worked. "The key is frequency modulation," he explained to the engineers who gathered in the hidden workshop. "Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons that operate on fixed frequencies. But if we constantly change the frequency during firing, we can punch through." The first successful attack on an alien patrol came 2 days later. Resistance fighters armed with Yu Jin's modified weapons ambushed a council squad in the ruins of Rome. The aliens were caught completely off guard when human energy bolts punched through their supposedly impenetrable defenses. For the first time since the occupation began, alien soldiers died. Zinthos received the casualty report with confusion rather than anger. How had primitive humans managed to develop weapons capable of penetrating Council shields? Their technology was supposed to be centuries behind galactic standards. It should have been impossible. "Increase planetary bombardment," he ordered. "These creatures are more resourceful than anticipated. We will break their will to resist through superior firepower." But the bombardment only made things worse. Each alien attack created new hiding places in the rubble, new tunnel networks in the ruins. The human fighters adapted faster than the aliens could adjust their tactics. They learned to use the destroyed cities as cover, to turn the aliens' own weapons against them. So-Min made her own breakthrough a week later. Using principles from her pre-invasion research, she had found a way to disrupt alien communication networks. The quantum field manipulator she had built was small enough to be carried by a single person, but powerful enough to jam alien transmissions across an entire city. "Their communications rely on quantum entanglement," she explained to Min Jun during a rare face-to-face meeting. "But if we can introduce interference into the quantum field, we can cut their ships off from each other." The first coordinated attack using So-Min's jammers took place over the ruins of London. 18 months into the occupation, Zinthos finally admitted to himself that something had gone catastrophically wrong with his assessment. The humans should have been broken by now, reduced to scattered survivors begging for mercy. Instead, they had somehow become more dangerous with each passing day. The Vorthax scientist stood in his command center, studying reports that defied every principle of galactic military doctrine. Human resistance cells were operating with a level of coordination that should have been impossible without advanced quantum communication networks. Their weapons were improving at a rate that violated every known law of technological development. Most disturbing of all, they were adapting to alien tactics faster than the Council forces could develop new strategies. Baek Sun-ho had been a video game designer before the invasion, creating virtual worlds where players battled impossible odds. With limited resources, now he was using those same skills to revolutionize human military tactics. The former programmer sat in a hidden bunker beneath the ruins of Seoul, surrounded by holographic displays that showed the positions of every known alien unit on the planet. "They think like a computer," Sun Ho explained to the gathered resistance. "Leaders. Their battle plans follow predetermined patterns based on statistical analysis. But humans don't fight like computers. We improvise, we take risks, we do things that don't make logical sense." The tactical revolution he pioneered was spreading through the resistance network like a virus. Instead of fighting the aliens directly, human cells would strike at unexpected targets, forcing the Council forces to spread their resources thin. They would attack supply convoys while avoiding military installations, target communication arrays while ignoring weapon emplacements. Jung Hyawan had been a medical researcher before the war, but now she was conducting the most important study of her career. Working with tissue samples recovered from alien casualties, she was learning things about human biology that changed everything they thought they knew about their own species. "Look at this neural activity," she said to her research team as they studied brain scans in their underground laboratory. Under extreme stress, human neural pathways are restructuring themselves at an unprecedented rate. We're literally evolving in real time. The data was incredible. Humans exposed to alien technology were developing enhanced pattern recognition abilities. Resistance fighters were learning to predict alien movements with almost supernatural accuracy. Most remarkably, humans working together were demonstrating a form of collective intelligence that amplified their individual capabilities. Nam Ki-tae had built the communication network that the aliens couldn't crack, and he was proud of his achievement. The former telecommunications expert had created a system that used quantum encryption combined with old-fashioned radio techniques. The aliens could detect neither the quantum signals nor the primitive radio transmissions because they weren't designed to work together. "They're looking for advanced technology," he explained to Da-Yun as she prepared for another supply run. "But we're using Stone Age techniques combined with physics they don't understand. Their sensors can't process information that doesn't fit their expected patterns." The supply runs had become increasingly dangerous as the aliens adapted their patrol patterns, but Da-Un had adapted too. Her cargo ship now carried weapons that could punch through alien armor, and she had learned to navigate by instinct rather than instruments. The veteran pilot was becoming something new, something the aliens had never encountered before. Yujin's workshop had grown from a hidden laboratory into an underground weapons factory. The engineer, who had started by reverse engineering alien technology, was now creating things that surpassed galactic standards. His latest breakthrough was a plasma rifle that could adjust its output frequency in real time, making it virtually impossible for alien shields to adapt. "Their technology is perfect," he said to his team of human engineers as they assembled the new weapons. "But perfection is a weakness. It can't adapt to chaos, and chaos is what humans do best." The weapons were being distributed through Nam Ki-tae's network to resistance cells around the world. Each cell was modifying the designs further, creating variations that even Yujin hadn't imagined. Human innovation was accelerating beyond anything the Galactic Council could track or predict. So-min had moved beyond disrupting alien communications. Her latest project was something that would have been considered impossible just 2 years ago. A faster-than-light communication system based on quantum field manipulation. The technology existed in her equations, but building it required materials and techniques that pushed human engineering to its absolute limits. "If we can complete this," she told Min-jun during one of their rare meetings, "we can coordinate resistance efforts across the entire solar system instantly. We can turn their own advantages against them." The resistance had spread beyond Earth. Daeho's mining crews had established hidden bases throughout the asteroid belt, and they were conducting raids on alien supply convoys with increasing success. The miners had become space pirates, using their intimate knowledge of the asteroid fields to ambush Council ships and disappear into the maze of floating rocks. "They control the space lanes," Daeho reported to the Resistance Command, "but they don't control the spaces between the lanes. We can move through areas they consider too dangerous to patrol." The psychological warfare was as important as the physical attacks. Every successful human operation was broadcast through the Resistance Network, building morale and inspiring new tactics. The aliens were discovering that humans didn't just fight for survival. They fought for hope, for pride, for the sheer bloody-minded satisfaction of proving that they couldn't be broken. Zinthos requested reinforcements from the Council, but the response was not what he expected. The galactic leadership was growing concerned about the resources being committed to what should have been a simple pacification operation. Worse, word was spreading to other Council subject species that humans were successfully resisting occupation. "Complete your mission quickly," came the order from the Council homeworld. "Prolonged resistance encourages rebellion among our established labor populations." But Zinthos was beginning to understand that quick completion might not be possible. The humans weren't just resisting, they were learning. Every engagement taught them something new about alien technology and tactics. They were advancing their capabilities at a rate that violated every known principle of technological development. The breakthrough that changed everything came from an unexpected source. Haiwan's medical research had discovered that human brains, under extreme stress, produced unique quantum field fluctuations. So men realized that these fluctuations could be harnessed and amplified, creating a form of biological quantum computer that operated on principles the aliens had never encountered. "We're not just building better weapons," So men explained to the assembled resistance leaders. "We're becoming better weapons. Our biology is adapting to handle technologies that shouldn't be possible for our level of development." The first test of the human quantum network took place 6 months later. Resistance cells across 3 continents coordinated a simultaneous strike, using nothing more than human intuition enhanced by quantum field manipulation. The attacks succeeded with a precision that baffled alien analysts. Sunho's tactical innovations had evolved beyond conventional military strategy. He was now developing battle plans that incorporated human psychological factors, alien behavioral patterns, and quantum probability calculations. The result was a form of warfare that existed somewhere between science and art. "We're not fighting their war anymore," he told the resistance commanders. "We're making them fight ours." The aliens were discovering that their advantages meant nothing against opponents who refused to play by established rules. Human fighters would retreat when they should attack when they should retreat, and coordinate their movements through methods that alien science couldn't detect or understand. Kite's communication network had evolved into something that resembled alien quantum entanglement systems, but operated on completely different principles. The network could adapt in real time to alien jamming attempts, creating new pathways faster than the Council forces could block them. "They're trying to cut our communications," he reported. "But every time they block one channel, we create 3 new ones. Our network is growing faster than they can destroy it." The captured alien prisoners were providing invaluable intelligence about Council technology and tactics. But more importantly, they were revealing something that no human had suspected. The Galactic Council had never encountered a species like humanity before. "You don't understand," one captured alien officer told his human interrogators. "In 50,000 years of expansion, no species has ever successfully resisted pacification. It doesn't happen. It can't happen." But it was happening. Humanity was not just surviving the alien occupation. They were thriving under pressure, evolving in real time, becoming something that the galactic community had never seen before. The species that the Council had dismissed as primitive was teaching them a terrifying lesson about the difference between advancement and evolution. 3 years into the occupation, humanity launched Operation Homecoming. The coordinated strike that would change the course of galactic history began not with a massive assault, but with a simple message transmitted across every alien communication channel simultaneously. "This is Admiral Seo Dongwook of the Human Resistance Fleet. You came to our world uninvited. You declared us your slaves. You murdered our people. Now we're coming to return the favor." The aliens had no idea what hit them. Jae-sung had been a civilian pilot before the invasion, flying cargo runs between Earth and the outer colonies. Now he was humanity's first ace in alien spacecraft, having learned to fly captured Council fighters better than their original pilots. The former commercial aviator sat in the cockpit of a modified alien interceptor, leading a squadron of human pilots in ships that should have been impossible for them to operate. "Remember," he broadcast to his wing, "these ships are designed for predictable flying. Don't be predictable." The human pilots had thrown out every principle of alien flight doctrine and created their own. They flew in formations that made no tactical sense, executed maneuvers that violated basic physics, and coordinated their attacks through methods that alien technology couldn't detect. The result was a fighting force that no galactic military manual had prepared the Council forces to face. Song Mi-kyung had been a strategic planner for a major corporation before the war. But now she was coordinating the most complex military operation in human history. The former business analyst sat in the Resistance Command Center, watching tactical displays that showed human forces moving across 3-star systems in perfect synchronization. Phase 1 is complete, she reported to the assembled commanders. All alien communication relays in the outer system have been neutralized. They're flying blind now. The plan she had developed was audacious beyond anything attempted in galactic military history. Instead of trying to match alien firepower, the humans would use their advantages: speed, adaptability, and the ability to operate in environments that alien forces considered too dangerous. Im Tae-hyun had infiltrated the alien command structure 6 months earlier, posing as a captured human slave. The former intelligence operative had spent years learning alien languages and customs from prisoners, and now he was feeding critical information back to the Resistance through channels the aliens couldn't detect. The main fleet is preparing to retreat to Council space, he transmitted through a quantum burst communicator hidden in his clothing. They're requesting full orbital bombardment authorization. We have maybe 6 hours before they glass the planet. But the aliens wouldn't get the chance to implement their final solution. Human forces had been preparing for this moment since the occupation began, and they were ready to take the fight to the enemy. Daeho's asteroid mining crews had been busy during the 3 years of occupation, but they hadn't been mining minerals. Hidden inside the largest asteroids were weapons platforms that could destroy ships 100 times their size. The veteran soldier activated the concealed weapons systems as alien patrol ships passed within range. All mining stations, this is Control, he broadcast on the Resistance frequency. Light them up. The asteroid belt erupted in weapons fire as dozens of hidden gun platforms revealed themselves. Alien patrol ships that had been cruising through what they thought was empty space found themselves under attack from every direction. The Council forces had never developed tactics for fighting enemies that could hide inside celestial bodies. Da-un piloted her modified cargo ship through the chaos of the asteroid battle, her vessel now armed with weapons that could punch through alien capital ship armor. The veteran pilot had become something more than human during the years of war, her reflexes enhanced by quantum field manipulation, and her intuition sharpened by constant exposure to alien technology. Package delivered, she reported as her ship's weapons tore through an alien destroyer's shields. One more Council ship learning about human hospitality. The cargo ship that had once carried mining supplies was now a weapon of war, its hull reinforced with alien metal and its engines upgraded with technology that surpassed galactic standards. Dae-yun had helped Yujin's engineers reverse engineer and improve captured alien systems until they created something entirely new. Yujin himself was leading the assault on the primary alien harvester ship, his team of human engineers armed with weapons that incorporated technologies from a dozen different alien systems. The former aerospace engineer had become humanity's premier weapons designer, creating tools of destruction that made alien military equipment look primitive by comparison. Their main reactor is heavily shielded, he reported as his team fought through the harvester's corridors, but we've found a way in. Human engineering beats alien perfection every time. The weapon Yujin carried was a masterpiece of hybrid technology, combining human innovation with alien materials to create something that neither species could have built alone. It fired packets of contained antimatter guided by quantum targeting, systems that could track targets through multiple dimensions of space-time. The alien crew of the Harvester had never faced boarding actions before. In 50,000 years of galactic expansion, no enemy had ever been foolish enough to attack. Council ships with infantry forces. They had no training for close-quarters combat, no tactics for fighting in confined spaces. Humans, on the other hand, had been perfecting the art of ship-to-ship combat since the age of sailing vessels. So-Min's quantum displacement drive had been installed in secret aboard a dozen human vessels, allowing them to appear anywhere in the solar system instantly. The brilliant physicist watched from the bridge of the Resistance flagship as her technology opened doorways through space-time itself. Jump coordinates locked, she reported to Admiral Seo Dong-wook. We can be at Earth in 30 seconds or at their command ship in 60. The drive that So-Min had created was based on principles that the Galactic Council's scientists didn't even know existed. By manipulating quantum fields in ways that alien physics considered impossible, she had given humanity a form of faster-than-light travel that surpassed anything in the galactic fleet. Seo Dong-wook had been promoted from Resistance Commander to Admiral of humanity's first space fleet, though his ships were a motley collection of captured alien vessels and modified human craft. The former Army officer stood on the bridge of a converted alien battlecruiser, watching his forces execute the most daring military operation in galactic history. "All units, this is Admiral Seo," he broadcast to the human fleet. "Today we show the galaxy what happens when you pick a fight with humanity. No mercy, no quarter, no retreat." The human fleet that jumped into battle around Earth was unlike anything the Galactic Council had ever faced. The ships flew in impossible formations, used weapons that violated known physics, and coordinated their attacks through methods that alien science couldn't understand. Every vessel was commanded by humans who had learned to think in ways that no galactic military academy had ever taught. The battle for Earth's orbit lasted 14 hours and resulted in the complete destruction of the alien occupation force. Human fighters swarmed through the Council fleet like angry wasps, their smaller ships penetrating alien defenses and striking at critical systems with surgical precision. Sun Ho coordinated the assault from his command center, his tactical displays, showing the flow of battle in real time. The former game designer had turned warfare into an art form, predicting alien movements with superhuman accuracy while directing human forces with the precision of a master chess player. "Their fleet commander is trying to retreat," he reported to Admiral Seo, "cutting off his escape route now." The alien fleet that had arrived to enslave humanity was trapped in Earth's gravity well, surrounded by human forces that fought with a ferocity that no galactic species had ever displayed. The Council ships were more advanced, but their crews had never faced enemies that refused to follow the rules of civilized warfare. Haiwan's research had revealed the secret of human combat effectiveness. Under extreme stress, human neural networks formed quantum entanglement patterns that allowed for instantaneous coordination between individuals. Entire squadrons of human fighters could act as a single organism, sharing information and tactical awareness through quantum field fluctuations that alien sensors couldn't detect. "We're not just evolved for war," she explained to the resistance leadership as the battle raged overhead. "We're evolved for this kind of war. Chaotic, desperate, impossible. We're literally designed to fight enemies that are bigger and stronger than we are." The capture of Zinthos and his command staff provided humanity with its first detailed intelligence about the Galactic Council's military capabilities. The Vorthak scientist who had begun this catastrophe found himself in a human interrogation facility, facing questions from beings he had dismissed as primitive slaves. "You don't understand what you've done," Zinthos told his human captors. "The Council has resources beyond your imagination. Fleets that could crack your sun in half. You've won a single battle against one expeditionary force." But the humans did understand. They understood that the Galactic Council was a paper tiger, impressive from a distance but vulnerable to opponents who refused to be intimidated. The human fleet that arrived at the Galactic Council's core worlds was not the ragtag collection of modified ships that had defended Earth. 5 years of warfare had transformed humanity into something the galaxy had never seen before. A species that improved through conflict rather than being weakened by it. Admiral Seo Dong-wook stood on the bridge of the battleship Indomitable, a vessel that combined human innovation with captured alien technology to create something that transcended both. The former resistance commander had become the supreme military leader of a species that had evolved from primitive spacefaring to galactic superpower in less than a decade. "Long-range sensors are picking up the Council home fleet," reported his tactical officer. 200 ships, including their flagship dreadnought. They're moving to intercept us at the edge of their system." Seo smiled grimly. The Council still didn't understand what they were facing. They thought this was a conventional military engagement between opposing fleets. They had no idea that humanity had rewritten the rules of galactic warfare. Choi Yun-ji sat in the diplomatic quarters of the human flagship, reviewing the terms she would present to the Galactic Council leadership. The former international negotiator had become humanity's chief diplomat, but her job now involved considerably more threat than persuasion. "They're going to refuse our initial terms," she told Admiral Seo during their final planning session. "The Council has never negotiated with a subject species before. They literally don't know how." But they were going to learn. The ultimatum that Yun-ji carried would give the Council one chance to avoid total destruction. After that, Humanity would demonstrate what 5 years of constant warfare had taught them about the application of overwhelming force. Kang Woo-jin had been a prisoner of the Council for 2 years before his escape during the liberation of the Neptune mining stations. The former captive had spent his imprisonment learning about the galaxy's hidden history, discovering truths that the Council had kept secret for 50 millennia. "The other subject species are already preparing," he reported to the human command staff. "Word of our victories has spread throughout the galaxy. The Council is facing rebellion on 17 different worlds, and they don't have the forces to suppress them all." The revolution that humanity had started was spreading like wildfire through the galactic community. Species that had been enslaved for thousands of years were suddenly remembering what freedom felt like. The Council's empire was cracking along, every fault line simultaneously. Somin's quantum displacement technology had advanced far beyond her original experiments. The brilliant physicist now commanded a research division that was producing innovations at a rate that made alien scientists question their understanding of the universe. Her latest creation was a weapon that could destabilize stars themselves. "The mathematics are elegant," she explained to the gathered human commanders. "We can trigger a controlled stellar collapse that will destroy their entire system without affecting neighboring star systems. Complete devastation with surgical precision. But destroying the Council homeworld would only be necessary if they refused to accept reality. Humanity preferred to win through intimidation rather than genocide, though they were perfectly capable of either approach. Yu-jin's engineering corps had turned the art of starship construction into a science that surpassed galactic standards by orders of magnitude. The former aerospace engineer now led teams that could design and build vessels that incorporated technologies from dozens of different alien civilizations. "Our ships are faster, more maneuverable, and carry weapons that can penetrate any known shielding system," he reported to Admiral Seo. "But more importantly, they're operated by crews that have learned to think in ways that alien military doctrine can't predict." The human fleet approaching the Council homeworld was a testament to the power of adaptive evolution. Every vessel incorporated lessons learned from hundreds of battles, improvements suggested by combat experience, and innovations born from the desperate creativity of a species fighting for survival. Daeho's special operations teams had been infiltrating Council facilities throughout the galaxy for the past 2 years. The veteran soldier now commanded an army of human operatives who could strike anywhere in known space without warning. "All targets are marked," he reported from his position aboard a stealth ship hidden in the Council system's outer asteroid belt. "We can take out their orbital defense platforms, their communication arrays, and their government facilities simultaneously." But the goal wasn't destruction for its own sake. Humanity had learned that breaking things was easy. The hard part was building something better to replace what you had destroyed. Da-Yun commanded a squadron of fast attack ships that could appear anywhere in the galaxy within minutes. The veteran pilot had become one of humanity's most effective military commanders, her tactical instincts sharpened by years of combat against impossible odds. "Council fleet is moving to intercept," she reported from her position on the fleet's flank. "They're using standard battle formations. This is going to be easier than I expected." The aliens still fought like they were conducting military exercises rather than life-or-death combat. They followed doctrine, maintained proper formations, and executed maneuvers by the book. Humans fought like their lives depended on winning, because they usually did. The first contact between the human fleet and the Council forces lasted exactly 17 minutes. The aliens opened fire with weapons that could shatter planets, but their target acquisition systems couldn't track ships that moved in patterns that violated known physics. Human vessels danced through the alien fire like ghosts, their quantum displacement drives allowing them to appear and disappear at will. The Council fleet found itself fighting enemies that could strike from any direction at any time, while their own weapons couldn't lock onto targets that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Sun Ho coordinated the battle from his mobile command center, his tactical displays showing the flow of combat in real time across multiple dimensional planes. The former game designer had become humanity's greatest military strategist, his understanding of complex systems allowing him to predict and counter alien movements with supernatural accuracy. "Their fleet commander is trying to retreat to the inner system," he reported to Admiral Seo. "Shall we let them go, or do you want me to cut off their escape route?" The decision was tactical rather than emotional. Destroying the Council fleet would demonstrate human military superiority, but allowing them to retreat would force the Council leadership to confront the reality of their situation. Let them run, Admiral Seo decided. They need to tell their masters what they've seen. The surviving Council ships limped back to their homeworld, carrying news that shattered 50,000 years of galactic certainty. The primitive humans, who had been marked for slavery, had not only defeated the occupation force, but had somehow become the most dangerous military power in known space. HFY's research had revealed the secret of human evolution under pressure. The medical researcher now led a team of scientists who were studying the changes that combat stress had produced in human physiology and psychology. "We're not the same species that the Council first encountered," she explained to the diplomatic team preparing for negotiations. 5 years of constant warfare has accelerated our development by thousands of years. We've become something new. The humans approaching the Council homeworld were indeed something new. They combined the adaptive intelligence of their ancestors with technologies that transcended anything in galactic civilization. They were what happened when a species evolved through conflict rather than comfort. Kite's communication network now spanned the entire galaxy, connecting human forces with resistance movements on hundreds of worlds. The former telecommunications expert had created something that the Council had thought impossible, a coordination system that couldn't be detected, jammed, or destroyed. "All resistance cells are ready to move on your signal," he reported to the command staff. "The moment negotiations begin, every enslaved species in the galaxy will know that the Council can be beaten." The psychological warfare was as important as the military campaign. The mere knowledge that the Council could be defeated would inspire rebellions that would tear their empire apart from within. The final approach to the Council homeworld was conducted with all the ceremony that humanity could muster. Admiral Seo's flagship led a formation of vessels that showcased the full spectrum of human technological achievement, from captured alien ships to purely human designs that incorporated physics the Council didn't understand. "This is Admiral Seo Dongwook of the Human Liberation Fleet," came the transmission that echoed across every communication channel in the system. "We are here to discuss the terms of your surrender." The response from the Council was predictable: outrage, threats, and demands that the humans withdraw immediately. They still couldn't accept the reality that their empire was finished, that the species they had dismissed as primitive slaves had become their conquerors. Yunji's diplomatic presentation was delivered from the bridge of the human flagship while the Council leadership watched through quantum communication links. The terms she presented were simple: